Welcome back to the Alex Robin Podcast. Today we have a very special, in-person, noteworthy with Nick Bear, where we dive into our favorite stories from the week, from the month, from the year, or whatever we really want to talk about. Now, we have some amazing stories lined up. It's Super Bowl week. We had to dive in. Nick, what's your first story? Let's just jump right in.
We're talking all things Super Bowl this week. Glad to be here in the flesh for the first in-person Alex Robin Podcast, noteworthy with Nick Bear. And we're talking prices, the game behind the game with Super Bowl. We're not talking about the game on the field. We're talking about the off-field antics of the Super Bowl. And I want to talk about tickets. Why does it cost so much? We all know it's crazy expensive to go to the Super Bowl, but why is that? I wanted to dive a little bit into exactly why, the reasoning behind the prices and luxury suites and the business behind the Super Bowl. So, one of the things that jacks up the prices that I read this week was that, okay, first of all, the Super Bowl this year is in Las Vegas and there's only 60,000 seats. So right away, there are fewer seats than you would normally have in some other Super Bowl venues.
Wait. So how many seats are usually in the Super Bowl? Like how many seats were there last year?
There was, I think, 72,000 in Arizona last year, and before that, I think slightly more in LA at the new SoFi Stadium. So this is one of the smaller Super Bowl venues that we've seen in recent history. So that's part of the reason why. Less seats means the tickets go up a little bit higher. Okay, fine, we understand that. Supply and demand. Mm-hmm. But there's also a bunch of other reasons why the tickets get jacked up. So it used to be back in the day that brokers would get a hold of tickets and they would sell them for a little bit more than face value, try to make a profit. But now what's happened is the NFL has allocated a bunch of these tickets to its own subsidiary company, and that company is called On-Field Productions.
On-Field Productions, yeah.
Yeah, and On Location Experiences, that's the name of the company.
Okay.
And On Location Experiences, they get at least a minimum of 11,000 tickets, and then they're free to do what they want with these. So they have this company set up where they sell these tickets as part of luxury packages with hotels and things like that. And they're jacking up the price to astronomical figures, where basically we're only talking 1%ers here that can actually afford this stuff. So we're talking about a $4,000 ticket now becomes a $14,000 ticket, that kind of thing. So that's a big reason why the tickets are expensive. But another thing I read too that was interesting was a large percentage of these tickets go towards coaches, players, people who are actually involved with the teams, and then they're free to do what they want with some of these tickets. Now the NFL frowns upon players and coaches reselling these tickets, but apparently that's basically how these tickets a lot of times end up in the pockets.
So the players are selling the tickets that they're allotted?
Yes, and they're making a bank on it. So we're talking about making. So there was a part of the CBS story I found where an anonymous ticket broker said that it was not uncommon for people to show up with literal bags of money. Like we're talking $800,000 to $1 million in cash, with the sole purpose of buying these tickets from players and coaches that they can then resell them on whatever market. And they get to various ticket broker websites and things like that. But that's another reason why these tickets become unaffordable, because coaches and players are given all these tickets and then they're just trying to make a mint on it.
They sell them? Yeah. That's crazy.
And apparently the NFL has been cracking down on it, and there was a quote from this ticket broker saying that coaches are terrified because you could get fired probably for, if it found out that you were making crazy money. The NFL obviously does not want their image to be that they're giving tickets away to family and friends of the teams, and then those people are turning around and making 10 grand on each ticket. Right.
I feel like it would be pretty easy to establish who sold the tickets, because obviously they're allotted a certain amount of tickets in certain areas of the stadium.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty easy to tell which players are selling tickets.
Exactly.
Yesterday, we were actually looking at tickets on Ticketmaster, and they ended up being $6,900 US per ticket for the worst tickets possible. A few days before that, it was about $9,000 per ticket. But yesterday when we looked, it seemed like the prices came down a little bit. But you could get 4 front row tickets, first row tickets, for just $26,000 a ticket.
Quick $100,000
just
for
$26,000 a ticket.
You and 3 of your friends to
Don't
go.
worry, in a few years.
We'll get there.
In a few years, we'll get there. Okay, so first of all, just a sidetrack here a little bit. would you ever want to go to the Super Bowl for that type of price? Like, if you had that sort of money, like, okay, I'm willing to drop like $20,000 on a ticket. Is that something you would even want to do?
See, I don't think so, because I think even for people that make millions of dollars, like the people who are going to this game are the rich and famous mostly, or they're clearly like friends and family of the team. Even for those people, even if you're making, let's say you make, I don't know, $3 million a year, you're whatever job you're in, if it's you're an engineer, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you make $3 million, let's just say, is it even you make a lot of your money through investments and like being smart with your money and things like that. Does it even make sense to drop 25 grand on a 3-hour entertainment experience, even if you make millions of dollars?
The reason I'm asking you this is because you're the biggest NFL fan I know, like personally.
Yeah.
You're the biggest NFL fan I know. So, for you, would it be worth it? And right now, it seems like you're saying that it wouldn't be.
Okay, well, I'll sum it up like this. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were in the game, I would consider it heavily if I was making that kind of money and had, 25 grand to drop on like one experience, because it's not just the ticket, it's the hotel, it's everything else, it's the airfare.
He actually just started watching the Tampa Bay Bucks when Tom Brady won the Super Bowl.
Classic bandwagoner over here.
Classic.
But if they were in the game...
Kidding, wait, we have to say kidding. He's been lifetime fan.
Lifetime fan.
Okay, anyways, go ahead.
In that scenario, maybe, but otherwise, I mean, it's hard to justify. I don't know how much money you'd have to make to justify it. Like, the CBS article was around this this diehard Niners fan who was considering going to the game. Apparently, he hasn't missed a playoff game in years, but even he was kind of like, I do well for myself. I think he had a great job, whatever. And he's a season ticket holder. He spends a lot of money on NFL tickets, but even he was like, this is crazy. This year is crazy.
It's nonsense. The only thing I could relate it to is like when Andy and I flew to Golden State to watch that championship win, we paid a bunch of money, but it still wasn't even close to anything like that. It was like, I don't know, maybe like $600-700 for tickets that were pretty bad, but it wasn't $6,000-7,000 US, by the way. Everything's in US.
Exactly. And we're talking, when I took a quick look this morning, the cheapest ticket was now around $8,900 US.
Back to 89?
The cheapest ticket. Yeah. At least that's where I looked.
Okay, wait. Can you touch on this Christian McCaffrey story, his wife, all that stuff? I don't know if you know.
Yes. So, good segue.
We were talking about it last night because, go ahead.
So
this is crazy.
Tickets are, we've established it's unaffordable for the average person. Alex and I are not going to be spending 25 grand on a ticket to go to the game. Not yet. At least not now. But what if you're someone who is already rich and famous? What if you're Christian McCaffrey? What if you're Christian McCaffrey's mother? Well, it was her birthday, I guess, recently, and she has her own podcast, and she was talking about how it's unaffordable for their family to go to the game. And Christian McCaffrey, for those who don't know, his dad played in the NFL for a long time. His base salary is something like $10.5 million this year. Like, this family is well off. It's a football family going back years, and even they were like, we can't get a suite for our friends and family because it's completely unaffordable. Like, the prices for these suites are crazy. In steps Christian McCaffrey's fiance, model Olivia Culpo, who I guess posted, happy birthday to Lisa McCaffrey. I just bought you a suite. And now she didn't disclose how much that was, but I mean, the prices for these suites are somewhere between $1.4 and $2.5 million. So she's dropping around $1 million or so, around maybe $2 million for a luxury suite to go to the game. A game that her fiance is in and is potentially the MVP of. And they're I don't know if we can go to the game, it's too expensive. That's the kind of level we're talking about here, when even Christian McCaffrey's family can't go to the game. Can't go to the suite.
Speaking of Christian McCaffrey and his family and his mom, TMZ article just came out saying that Christian McCaffrey's mom is saying no to Taylor Swift this week. So she's not listening to Taylor Swift all week and is boycotting her because obviously Taylor Swift is a fan of KC. Isn't that funny? Look at this. She's a funny lady, hey? Christian McCaffrey's mom. What's her name?
Lisa McCaffrey. She has her own podcast. I think it's called Your Mom podcast, which is...
It's called Your Mom. Friday, digging into the upcoming NFL championship. She said that she's ditching the Swiftie label in solidarity with her son's San Francisco 49ers. That's funny.
Swearing off all Taylor Swift this week.
Another segue to Taylor Swift. This was... I'm going to just let you cook right now because I just have a Super Bowl economics sort of story here So it's everything's about the Super Bowl this week. But about Taylor Swift and her jet, can you get into that a little bit?
Yeah, so of course Taylor Swift, a hot topic this week with her boyfriend Travis Kelce playing in the game. And speaking of prices, it's rumored that if she does go to the game, she could be spending upwards of $3 million for a luxury suite at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas to go to that game. Whether she'll show up, we don't know yet. That's another topic completely, which is what I'm about to get to. So, Taylor Swift, she owns or owned multiple private jets. Not sure why anyone needs more than one private jet, I guess to fly other people around.
What if one of your private jets broken, Nick?
Yeah,
She's Taylor Swift. You know what? I have some opinions on this, but go ahead. She needs multiple private jets. She's Taylor Swift. What if one of the jets breaks down? And I'm not even kidding. Like, what if it breaks down? She needs to get somewhere. She needs multiple private jets.
I mean, I feel like she has the money to be able to just like charter something really quickly, like just jump on like a JetBlue or whatever. Like
she's not gonna fly around with the normies. This is Taylor Swift.
I'm not saying the normies. I'm saying she could just take a different PJ. She could just get her own.
Charter a different PJ?
Yeah. She's a billionaire. She could just get another private jet if she wanted to.
And then have more of these creeps tracking her? What's wrong with you? Why are you such a Taylor Swift hater?
So the story here, though, is there was a 21-year-old student at the University of Central Florida who apparently has been tracking Taylor Swift on her jet for years, and among other celebs and billionaires like the Elon Musks, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerbergs of the world. This guy has, I guess, a website or somewhere where he's posting the tracking data, which is all publicly available, I might add, of all of these celebrities, I guess you could call them, or rich people, for lack of a better term. And Taylor Swift's team has reportedly threatened to sue the student who tracks that private jet by sending him a cease and desist. Now, the timing of this is curious because she could have, I think, released this story at any point. It didn't have to be this week leading up to the Super Bowl. So it's a bit convenient because I think that it's kind of gives her a built-in excuse for why she would maybe not go to the game. For those who don't know, she is doing shows in Japan and then was supposed to fly from Japan to Vegas for the game and then back to Asia for more shows after that. So with all the backlash she's been getting for the use of her private jets, she also sold one of her 2 private jets recently. So I think that maybe, but she was getting a lot of hate online for the fact that she owned 2.
I don't care if she's getting hate online. She's Taylor Swift. Like, she can have as many private jets as she wants. She can fly around to as many places as she wants. The amount of money that she brings into these economies when she brings her tour in is absurd. Taylor Swift has a pass on spending all sorts of money, whatever she wants, whatever carbon taxes, fuel, whatever. What is the thing you were saying? Like,
her carbon footprint is reportedly around 1,100 times what a normal person's carbon footprint would be in a year.
Okay, well, she brings 100,000 times more to any sort of economy than any regular person. So I don't care what all of these Swiftie haters have to say. By the way, story just came out right now. Next stop, Super Bowl. Taylor Swift rushes straight from Tokyo Eras Tour show to her private jet at Haneda Airport to begin 12-hour, 9,000-mile dash to Las Vegas to watch boyfriend Travis Kelce and the Chiefs. So boom, it's confirmed. She's on her way. Is everyone going to be hating on that? Is everyone going to be hating?
Well, here's the thing, though.
She has the resources. Like, everyone needs to stop with this nonsense.
She does. And, I mean, I don't want to, cape for billionaires, really, but I think that this is one of the reasons why you have a private jet. And this, her actually leaving Japan, going to Vegas and going back is actually a good reason to use the private jet, in my opinion. I think that she has shown in the past that there are lots of reasons when apparently she used her private jet to go 38 miles or something, or 28 miles.
Good.
Okay, that seems excessive. That seems unnecessary.
I don't care. She can do whatever she wants. She's Taylor Swift.
She can, and I will grant you that, comparing her to an average person's carbon footprint is silly. She's Taylor Swift. She's on top of the world. She has millions of fans. She needs to be in places. She has a very strict schedule. People are paying good money to see her. She has to perform. She deserves and is expected to be on her game and in a certain city at a certain time. So she needs to be able to do that, and she needs private jets to facilitate it.
She needs multiple private jets at all times. She needs whatever she needs has to be catered to because of how much money she brings into the economy.
That's fair. But I will say, I do think that she probably could cut down a little bit. I don't know if she used to go 38 miles on a private jet.
Or she could ramp it up. Go 12 miles on a private jet. I don't care. This is crazy. Taylor Swift should be able to use her private jets in whatever way she wants. If you make enough money to have a private jet, use your private jet the way you want. Everybody who talks all of this nonsense about her not being able to use her private jet as much as she wants to is because of the fact that they'll never have a private jet in their lives. And me and you, we shouldn't think that way. We're going to have private jets. Do you want a private jet or no?
I want a private jet.
Do you want to be able to use your private jet whenever you want?
I'll say this.
Or do you want to listen to nonsense from people who are sitting in their basements commenting on their phones?
Listen, I think that we can have both. We can have valid criticism of somebody who has maybe abused their right to have this stuff. I think that she deserves and is expected to have a private jet, and she needs one for her job, for sure. But does she need to use one? I mean,
for 38 miles?
When she comes to Toronto next year, or this fall, I should say, fall of 2024, if she needs to take a private jet from Pearson to Billy Bishop, the traffic's bad in Toronto. What can I say? If she just wants to do a little hop across the city and not have to sit in traffic, I understand that. I probably would think about doing that myself if I had the resources.
You know what? I'm gonna look up Pearson to Billy Bishop. How long it takes?
Flights? I would guess that there aren't any.
31 minutes via Lakeshore.
In a car.
In a car. I love the fact that she's rushing from Tokyo over to the Super Bowl. I think that's super cool. You know what I mean? And I'm really glad that he put her on the map. Anyways, what's your next topic? Or we can keep going on this because we can talk about this for an hour.
It's Super Bowl week, man. Taylor Swift's the biggest story. What can I say? We're talking about football here, and Taylor Swift is dominating the news. If that's not putting someone on the map, I don't know what is. But, okay, well, how about this? Do you think that Travis is going to propose to her after the game if they win?
No,
on the field?
Not yet. They haven't been together long enough for him to propose.
Last I checked, there were odds on FanDuel, and I believe it was plus 850, plus 800 maybe, that there would be a proposal. So we're talking not very likely.
That would be crazy. If he actually proposed to her, that would be insane.
Zero chance. You heard it here first. Zero chance. If you know anything about Taylor Swift, and I don't know that much, but I know people who do.
All right. Wait. If you're saying zero chance, I will bet you $10, but you have to give me 1,000 to 1 odds.
No.
Okay, I'll bet you $1, 1,000 to 1 odds.
No.
Okay, I'll bet you $10, 100 to 1 odds.
That it doesn't happen.
Yeah. $10. You can win a quick $10. If you're saying there's zero chance, let's do it. Shake on it. Oh, okay. You saw it here first.
I'll expect my $10 later tomorrow evening.
So you understand what 100 to 1 odds mean, right?
I know what that means.
Okay, so you're going to have to pay me $1,000 if you propose.
I'm confident.
All right, sweet. Okay, let me just quickly jump into the Super Bowl economics just for a second. Let me pull this article up. So, Las Vegas poised for economic jackpot with Super Bowl and Taylor Swift. So here are the numbers. The city's Convention and Visitors Authority projects the total impact to be around $500 to $600 million. Different articles say different things, but the city of Las Vegas will make $500 to $600 million in addition to approximately $70 million in local and state tax revenue. They'll also get about 150,000 extra visitors due to hosting the Super Bowl, and those people are expected to spend $215 million on food, drinks, hotels, and game-related items, according to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Now, Las Vegas doesn't need any more money. They really don't. But it's interesting to just see the economics of this and how much money this is bringing in. And I wanted to compare that to the F1 that recently happened in Vegas. And I was really surprised that the F1 brought in $1.3 billion into the local economy when the Super Bowl is only expected to bring in $500 to $600 million. And then we talked about it. Obviously, it's because they have 350,000 fans as opposed to the Super Bowl that has 60,000 fans. But it's just crazy to think at how much money the Super Bowl brings into a city. You know? And you got to think about everybody who's going to be there. Like, they're probably coming in on a Thursday. They're leaving on a Monday.
Yeah.
Right? Thursday gambling, Friday gambling, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday show. then the Super Bowl. If you're going to the Super Bowl, you're spending so much money. And the thing is, everybody who's going to the Super Bowl, like you said, they already have a ton of money.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like the ultra rich that are coming to Vegas to just play.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think that, so this is the first Super Bowl ever in Las Vegas. So there's a bit of a novelty attached to that fact as well, right? And Las Vegas is already a place where high rollers go. High rollers want to show up and play. And anytime there's a big event, they descend on the place and they want to throw money around and they want to be, they want to be seen. So, I mean, we've seen videos all week of famous comedians, actors, different athletes, whatever, descending on Vegas this week because that's the place to be in the US. And it has a way different gravitas than when the game is in Tampa or, it was in Arizona last year. That's great. They kind of paired it with the Waste Management Open last year and made it a bit of a destination. But Arizona, like where that stadium is, it's not Vegas, LA is great, Dallas is great. It's not Vegas, right? So
Vegas is amazing.
Yeah, and when it has
this
built-in area where high rollers can descend and play and splash money around, it just it elevates the whole event, right? And so I think with F1, it was a similar thing. It was the first F1 in Vegas. So it was an excuse for all these high rollers to just descend on the city and just go crazy.
Okay, one thing about the F1, it was the most annoying thing to be around when you were in Vegas because they were building the entire thing while I was there. We went to Vegas twice last year, and the entire time we were delayed from coming from the airport to the Strip. Took like 2 hours almost. Both times that I was there last year, and granted, two times in Vegas for 1 year isn't recommended for anybody, so don't do it. But it was a couple of bachelor parties. We went to the NBA Summer League, so like it was fun. Okay, I have a question for you. What was the highest rated Super Bowl in terms of eyeballs ever?
I'm going to guess last year's.
Boom. Last year's Super Bowl had more than 115 million viewers, making it the most watched Super Bowl of all time and the second most watched TV broadcast ever after the 1969 Apollo moon landing.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That is.
So, I have a prediction. This year's Super Bowl, with a caveat if Taylor Swift makes it there, will surpass these numbers. Because I think you're going to have everybody who was watching the Super Bowl last year, all 115 million of those viewers, plus you're going to have a ton of Swifties that are watching the Super Bowl just to see her.
1,000%. I think that's not even that hot of a take.
Okay.
I think that it's probably, I would expect that to happen. I think it's a great call.
Well, I said it first, so it is what it is. I understand you're jealous of it, but you don't have to just slam me on camera like that.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. This will be the most watched Super Bowl of all time, and most of it, sadly, has to do with Taylor Swift. Like, imagine if this doubles 115 million viewers without any Swifties.
Yeah.
Right? Like, she has how many people on Instagram even that follow her? Like 200 million? 250 million?
Yeah.
Right? So if even
and way
half
more
of
than
those
that fans
people,
worldwide.
half of those people are watching, this next record might never be touched again unless they continue dating and
the Chiefs keep winning.
Keep winning, yeah.
Which is very possible.
But other than that, I don't remember ever, seeing anything like this where somebody from the outside is affecting Super Bowl numbers or like NFL watch time numbers as much as this. This has never happened before, has it?
No, and this is the NFL's dream. And we talked about previously how the NFL, basically they're just greedy, and we've known this. They're like any major corporation. They want to make a lot of money. So this is an absolute dream to get eyeballs on their game that otherwise would not have been on that game. Because let's face it, Usher halftime show, not quite as big a draw as Taylor Swift. And she's not performing, and
she's just there, being there.
Just sitting in the suite, just chilling, watching the game. And the camera will be on her. I think you can probably bet on the over-under amount of time.
Imagine if she just drops in for a quick couple of songs. Just, Usher, man, give me the mic. Like, how insane would that be? Yeah, like Taylor Swift comes in, just grabs the mic from Usher, just like Kanye grabbed the mic from her, and just like, okay, just give me a second here. And she just breaks out into a song. That would be like the most viral moment of all time. Imagine if something like that happened.
And then shouts out Travis.
It's not going to happen. I can't believe last year's Super Bowl was the biggest broadcasting event after the 1969, second biggest after the 1969 Apollo moon landing. That's a crazy trivia fact. Okay, do we keep talking about this or do we want to move on?
Let's move on. We've got a couple other things to get to.
Okay. I just have one small story that I just saw recently, but it was when the TikTok CEO was getting interviewed. Did you see that?
No.
So he was getting interviewed by Congress. He was testifying before Congress. His name is Shu Zi Chu, okay, and he's Singaporean. Mm-hmm. And everybody, whoever was interviewing him and whoever he was testifying in front of, kept asking him if he was like Chinese, if he was Chinese, if he had any Chinese roots, if he ever wanted to live in China, and he kept being like, no, like I'm Singaporean, like Senator, I'm Singaporean, and it seems like this is a bigger story.
They're trying to get him to admit that he has some ties to China interference or whatever.
I don't know. He seems like the nicest guy ever. I don't know if that's an act or whatever, but it just seemed like he was 100% genuine, and all of his answers were good. But the bigger story here is how it seems like none of these U.S. senators who are all like 50, 60, 70 years old know anything about technology.
No.
They know nothing about technology. So they're asking these silly questions, and when guys like him, guys like Zuckerberg are answering them, they can't really understand what they're saying. So they keep asking more and more sillier questions, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that, whatever, this doesn't have to be a big conversation because we can talk about this for hours at a time. But the whole, for anybody who hasn't seen this interview, should go and watch this because it seems like the senators have no idea what they should even ask these tech giants, these tech geniuses, these CEOs. But yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts there?
It's kind of weird that they would even bring the guy in front of Congress if they're just not really clear on what they're going to ask him, if they're just going to keep doubling down on asking him about his nationality. That's an odd use of time and taxpayer money, I'm assuming, to do this. Yeah. There are a lot of things that a tech CEO like him could talk about and answer, and if I'm sure maybe they did get some productive work done in that, but it sounds like you're right. A lot of these senators are, elected officials from small corners of America, and they're probably out of their depth when talking about serious, deep technological issues and how they influence the world on a global stage. They're probably not the best suited people to be asking those questions.
The main reason they brought him in front of Congress was to talk about the whole privacy thing with TikTok, and all of that got kind of thrown out the window or got sidetracked by the fact that this guy kept asking if he was Chinese when he was clearly Singaporean. You know? He's like, no, Senator, I'm Singaporean.
There seems to be that's in China, right? There seems to be a fundamental lack of understanding of where exactly Singapore is on the map. Yeah.
He's like, no, for like the 17th time, Senator, I'm Singaporean. Like, he's like, I served in my military for 2 years. I'm Singaporean. I have no Chinese ties. He's like, okay, but
that name sounds Chinese.
Do you like China? Yeah, that's literally what he said.
Yeah.
Kind of. But anyways, okay, that's my story. What's your next one?
So I've got a little feel-good story to kind of wrap things up a little bit here. We're going to bring it closer to home to Toronto. And we've got a big, famous mall downtown in Toronto called the Eaton Centre. And it's been around for a long, long time. And so I guess there was a worker working on the building recently. He was an American guy from Detroit, doing some work in the Eaton Centre. And he, I guess, wedged in the ductwork somewhere in the building, found a wallet. So he looks in the wallet and then wants to do the Good Samaritan thing and return this wallet to its rightful owner. Turns out, though, that wallet had been there for around 40 years. So he eventually did track down the daughter of the owner of the wallet. So this woman lost her wallet, I guess, at some point in the 70s, 80s. And the daughter now lives in Guelph, Ontario. He tracked her down, returned the wallet fully intact. And, it's a kind of a crazy story that the wallet was completely, like, it was a time capsule, basically. We're talking baby photos of the woman who he gave the wallet to, a green card, like a Toronto Public Library card.
Super cool.
And a sneak preview ticket to Canada's Wonderland amusement park, which has been around for a long time. So yeah, pretty cool that this guy found it and then went out of his way to return it. So, it's one of those Good Samaritan stories, and this woman was obviously shocked that her mother's wallet had been returned after so long.
That's crazy. The Flora Plint wallet contained coupons to Canada's Wonderland. a Toronto Public Library card, a TD Bank Green Machine card, mementos from Austin's dad to her mom, and a photo of Austin as a child attached to her mom's immigration documents from their home country of El Salvador. That's really cool. That's really cool. You know, back when we were at Humber, this is kind of on the same page, but I wrote this piece called The Loss of Digital Memory. And it was basically when people record stuff like this, or they go on trips and take videos and photos and stuff like that, and then they keep them on their phones, and then they lose their phones, or like they keep them on whatever, like a USB key or whatever, an external hard drive, and it disappears. And then what this actually made me think of was I had an external hard drive from like 10, 15 years ago that I had laying around in my parents' house, and I just found it a couple of days ago. And I looked it up, and there's a bunch of photos of us when we were at Humber. There's a bunch of photos of like just random trips that I've been on and stuff like that.
No way.
So I don't know why well, I do know why because of the story here, but it made me think like, this was lost, and now it's found. Like that Eaton Center,
Canada's Wonderland
ticket.
ticket.
That Canada's Wonderland ticket is so cool.
Yeah.
And Loblaws brings you, shout out to Loblaws, brings you the sneak preview passport with every $40 Loblaws order.
Yeah. Buy one, get one free sneak preview passport to Canada's Wonderland.
June 16th, 1984. All right. Anything else? Anything else you want to talk about personally?
Personally, no. I think that's it for me.
How was the last time you played basketball? Did you dominate?
Dominate.
Did you dominate?
I blocked somebody so hard.
Did you?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Did they try to go up on you?
Yeah.
By the way, for anybody that doesn't know, Bear's like 6'4", I would say. Maybe bigger.
Maybe. On a good day.
You're like 6'4", 6'5", probably. He's a big boy over here. That's why every time we go out with him, I make sure that I'm just a little bit in front of him. So then if anybody looks at me and he's behind me, people are like, okay, all right.
These guys are the same size.
Yeah, I'm not going to step up to these guys. What about life? What's happening in your life right now?
Happy to be in Toronto, visiting the old stomping grounds.
We went to the Raptors game last night, had a good old time. Basically, the Raptors won against the Houston Rockets, but nobody was playing on Houston. We went there to see Fred VanVleet, and he wasn't there. Then we ended up going to the rec room downtown, and I obviously murdered everybody. You came into close. I don't know, actually. We probably both won.
We both had our moments.
Shout out to Big Andy Redding and Alex Chisholm, who just got absolutely dummied in every single game that we played. What else? Tell the viewers some more about your life so they know who you are as a person, so they can round you out.
Yeah.
Don't get awkward. Let's go. Do it. I'm keeping this in.
Yeah, I mean, visit Bell Vegas. What can I say? Belleville, Ontario is good town. That's where I call home now. And highly recommend a lot of the attractions you can find in that little part of the world.
So you're promoting Belleville?
Of course.
On this podcast?
Move to Belleville.
Move to Belleville. I'm trying to get this guy back to Toronto, honestly. I think that's my number one priority within the next 5 years. Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Do we have one more thing?
I don't have anything else.
The last thing I was looking up was Billy Bishop to Pearson. All right.
The Alex Strobin Podcast. Like and subscribe. You know how to do it. Every single thing helps. Every like, every subscription. Get on all your apps. Do it. Unfollow other podcasts if you need to.